end up being, the 10% or the 2% or the 5%,
Yeah.
which, you asked a question about live, and I think we end up doing shows live and have done them and again, live is your best 2 to 5 to 10% of your audience. The ones who really love you are going to set the time to watch live. The ones who really love you are going to go to your site and interact and be part of that. But that's okay, because those are the guys who are going to end up telling all their friends. And it's not just 10 friends anymore. It's 200 friends on Facebook. It's 150 Twitter followers. And so those people are even more valuable.
Right, and they're not going to come back once a year. They're going to come back 4 times a month, right? And that's where your editorial calendar of what you're putting on your branded site becomes so important. You got to have that constant refresh. It's got to be a mix of high value premium content, as well as you better enable kind of the user generated feedback loop, because again, people want the ability to interact with and around your brand. Because otherwise, if you're just broadcasting to them, there's a million places they can go for that.
Can we get some stories of what hasn't worked and why?
So we tried to do, we're all about communities around content, people at the center of it, and we tried to do comedy. And we were like, comedy, yeah, people love to laugh. Our what we're really good at is bringing these communities. They're host-centric. We bring products in, introduce them via the host to the audience, and we had one of the fun. I mean, these guys do what Saturday Night Live used to be consistently. But because they're up and down, like one video will do 1 million and then another video will do 10 or 20,000, we tried to bring the creators in and make personalities out of them. But you know what? It didn't work. Because comedy's different. And that, just for our model, it really didn't work. And we tried a couple comedy things, and because there was no real host-centric piece of it, for what we've been building, it just didn't work.
I worked on some stuff that had some problems with comedy too, and it was actually trying to do a parody off of the Old Spice video, knowing that had so much success, and so it fell flat. It was an IT guy who was trying to be the same as the Old Spice guy wearing a towel, but an IT guy in the shower, and it fell flat. And tried to do some engagement with it, and people kind of criticized it. And so, but back to the point of you figure out what doesn't work, and then you put your money elsewhere. Once we figured that out, well, we sure as hell stopped promoting that video, and we sure went to a different, completely separate type of video for the next one we did, and that one took off well.
I mean, look, we have the top comedy site online, College Humor, is part of our portfolio, and yeah, comedy's hard. And
but they're personality driven. I mean, think about what the College Humor guys do.
Jake and Amir.
Jake and Amir are people. They're.
That's absolutely right. I'm just saying, in terms of creating parodies or creating, it's a lot of writing. It's a lot of and people who do this as as a job. I mean, they are performing stand up regularly. They are sketch writing. They are submitting their jokes, to SNL's Weekend Update. I mean, there's a whole community, and it's just just a couple people that can crack people up in a conference room doesn't mean that they're going to be good on camera. And I think that's it is art, and it's hard to replicate, which is why there are a couple of comedy nights we all know. That one, Funny or Die, but it's basically it. I mean, there isn't that. And it's just because it isn't easy, and so, but for the guys from Doritos, go back to the Super Bowl, to get some videos in for $1,000 to $2,000 for people who are emerging comics, whether there's a community in San Francisco or a community in Seattle or Portland or what have you, that and then they can submit a work that can be seen on a worldwide stage. I mean, that's pretty amazing, and it's done usually in conjunction with a brand and that placement. So interesting times.
And what I think you're pointing out is talent is scarce, and everyone talks about the demise of either the telcos or the cable companies, or in some ways even the big media companies, and present company accepted. Well, even in some ways you're doing this, is you are a VC in the content world, right? You're finding that rare talent, and you're saying, there's something here, right? And I'm going to put money behind this, I'm going to try to grow this audience. And I think that's something people forget about, like the big established media companies or the music labels or something else. There's somebody with a good ear or a good eye or knows what funny is, a hit maker like Ben, who says, this is going to go big, and now let's focus everyone's resources on making it go. And I think in some ways the ubiquitous video ecosystem that we have now makes it even more difficult to break through, because you're dealing with everybody who thinks they're funny. or who can do high production video quality but doesn't have a story, and you've got to break through that.
I don't know, I disagree a little bit. I think one of the coolest things that's happening now is because the tools are everywhere. Yes, talent is scarce, but it doesn't just exist in LA and New York.
Absolutely.
And now you can have people who have talent who can do stuff and get recognized and build great things no matter where they are around the world. And with the ability for people to share stuff quickly, I think you can rise above the clutter if you're good. You can also be lucky too. So
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
the bigger question in my mind is, can you do it again? Right? Are you Ben Silverman? Can you do number 2, number 3, number 4?
well, that's where you got to start building your community, which is
Right.
why YouTube is so cool. Yeah.
Jordan, do you have any talent that's not in LA or New York?
You're talking about him personally, because he's got a
Yeah.
deep town.
Not really, honestly. I mean, there's London. I mean, there's some there, but ultimately, I mean, this is where the talent which we work with kind of migrates to.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that there aren't, you know, talented people. I mean, Lucas who does Fred, you know, he's in Omaha, Nebraska, right? So,
Surely he's moved to Hollywood, right?
he certainly has representatives in Hollywood, but he's still in high school, you know, and so you know, I think that those still exist, and there are ways to get it out there, but again, whoever we deal with, you know, is really more in those
Yeah.
meccas for entertainment.
So I mean, as Melissa was pointing out, you can't, in a lot of cases, you can't just copy something else that worked, right? But as you're kind of forging ahead and creating new categories of content, are there any examples that you look to as success, as something that you would like to match or exceed?
American Idol. That's a good start. I mean, I'm not being flip. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
like you know, have that sort of high profile reality slash docu soap slash competition show is with music, and it's a high level of entertainment. I mean, that's kind of what we
So your goal is to
strive for.
create the
Sure.
next.
To have the next American Idol coming out of Electus would be spectacular, and that's, you know, those are the things that we
That's what
look
you
for.
consider your category, is that?
That for television, that as our category for online, you know, we sorry, we
There you go, that'll come out.
Okay, so you know, for online, you know, we look at some of the things that have been successful, whether it's digital shorts or we're running something on MySpace right now that is kind of a competition show called Jerk All Stars around the whole jerk dancing movement that is doing extremely well on MySpace. That you know, we're really proud of, and Sprite is a sponsor, and they've been terrific.
What's extremely well?
Millions of views. I mean, really. I mean, it's been a great experience to go through that, and it's shot well. And the thing I like about it is that it found a community out there that wasn't really necessarily in the mainstream, and made them into superstars, where now they're competing against each other. And these are, you know, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. I mean, this is not. These are not people that, you know, you would see, you know, normally sort of on Broadway or anything like that. But you know, they are superstars within their community, and we've created a program around that, and that has become interesting whether you're in that community or not. So those are the types of things that we look for in terms of successful models.
So for us, it's Phil DeFranco, Ray William Johnson, Annoying Orange, some of the people who've been able to create channels or communities on YouTube that number in the millions, and you know, figuring out, you know, who the next big successes are, and who fits our model, and who's entertaining and informative and interesting, and can build a community and can do episodic video and do it over and over again. That to us is, you know, kind of the pinnacle of success.
Would you say that those guys are in your category?
Ray William Johnson is, certainly. Annoying Orange, I don't think so, because it's more sort of story-based and script-based versus real authentic characters, but, you know, I think Phil DeFranco is. I mean, Annoying Orange is great. If you guys don't know Annoying Orange, you gotta go watch it.
And I guess what I'd say is, I think we're still experimenting with what the new format for the digital storytelling is. But I think people have acknowledged that digital is not just yet another distribution silo, right? It is a a new medium that gives you more luxury to do different things, have different experiences, and there may not be a singular story of success anymore, but people are still really starting to try to figure out how do I use these experiences to deliver something the audience has value in, that advertisers or branded entertainment would have value in as well, and it's a pretty exciting time to be in that space.
And I actually two. I would probably say one being, a typical corporate example that any brands that I work with could learn from is Old Spice naturally, because of the actual conversion to sales. To see that number, it's not just views, it's 107% growth in sales. But the other one I'd have to throw out, because it's one of my favorite examples of viral videos of all time, is Antoine Dodson and his video, which had, basically $0 behind it. And not only did that take off virally with millions of people, but he even turned it into, iTunes single that, had millions of downloads, which pretty cool.
I'd be curious to hear what you all think about personally my favorite media platform is YouTube, and it's because it allows you to do such creative new things. So it started, they did interactive annotation, so you can see people uploading videos that they can it turns into a choose your own adventure story. And it goes to, you can do geotagging, and you can do 3D videos. So is that like a 1% kind of thing that you're just it's a noteworthy but one die out, or what is the place of those kind of new forms of creativity kind of for online video?
It is what we make it. When having been at YouTube, I'll tell you that when they create a lot of the products that they create, many times the use that actually happens is different from the intention. And annotations, I think, is a perfect example, which was I don't know if there was necessarily a plan around annotations. They just kind of thought it was cool and it was a good way, and then go really use it as a promotional mechanism to get people to the next video or drive to other places or whatever. And now there are tools where you can send the same message across all of your videos, with the open APIs at YouTube. So again, it's not only just what the engineers do in YouTube, but it's also giving it out to the community and then see what they can do with it. And that's what makes it really fun.
More questions? What do you guys think of the concept of social TV, however you would define it?
Social TV. So, I mean, there's aspects of people talking about television all the time, right? There's check-in apps and all that, but I don't know. I think it's certainly interesting to see where it goes. How many people use GetGlue or Miso or Philo or any of those? You do. Is it cool? I mean, we support them all, and it's great when it happens.
Not enough people get it.
Yeah.
Well, and
And-
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you also have to think of it as, I think a lot of us probably in this room are very in the Silicon Valley tech industry, and when I think of like my mother, and is she gonna use social TV in the way that we hear it presented to us today? No. I mean, it also kind of goes back to the Google TV proposition. Does my mother want to have a keyboard
yeah.
with her TV? Absolutely not. Would I use it? Yeah, I would, because it's cool. I don't know if I would pay a bunch of money to have it, but I think the everyday consumer wants something that's very simple and seamless. And would they use the social elements? Possibly. Not to say they want a Twitter feed constantly when they're watching a basketball game or a football game, but to have the option to turn it on, it could be cool, but it needs to be offered like as seamless as possible, whether it's through the service provider or through your TV you're purchasing, where it's not a whole heap loads of devices to be setting up. And even though I am in tech, the reality is I want something that's simple and seamless too for social TV.
Ultimately, I think social TV is the wrong term, because I don't want to be social with
Yeah,
my
yeah.
TV. I want to
Yeah.
be social with the
More
content
connected,
on my
connected
TV, right? And so it's like I want to interact with that particular brand, because with Comcast I have 500 channels. I don't want to be social with every single one, but there might be 2 or 3 that I'm so passionate about that I want to engage that. Now, if I have to have this bundle of everything on my TV has to be social, I'm not going to use
Yeah.
it, right? And again, that's why I come back to the notion that each device or endpoint that we have gives you a different experience. So am I going to be social on my TV outside maybe looking up some related web videos, Google TV or something? Probably not, but if I'm a diehard fan, I'm going to pull out the PC where I've got the keyboard, or I'm going to pull out my mobile when I'm on the train, and I'm going to do something social around that. So I'd say social content is the better phrase.
I don't want to be disrespectful to this time. I think we ran away with ourselves and went over. But let's see. Do you want to quickly ask something, or you want to follow up later?
Doesn't matter.
That's not
I do have a question regarding social TV, but.
Let's do one question on social TV and then
Okay,
about that.
so, when I think social TV, I'm not sure, I think you guys just try to talk about what you think it means. I immediately thought of the Connect and the opportunity to kind of have a FaceTime-like experience, viewing your sister watching the same show on TV, and so you having a video conference experience with your friends all engaged in a program, which that, I don't know, like, is that, cause that seems to me to be more social, cause it's kind of an interactive experience. I don't know if you see that as something future.
You know what's weird is that, you bring up the Xbox, and my son's 11 years old, he's on Xbox Live all the time, he's got a whole bunch of friends all over the country. They, there's a social viewing capability where you can all watch Netflix at the same time, things like that. They try it every now and then, it never is any fun for them. But what happened with the Kinect when they got it, that will contradict what I'm saying is, they said, so on Christmas Day, everybody got Kinects, all the little boys had Kinects. And, they played little jumpy games, but what they really did is they used it, because they've all been listening to each other for like a year or two, but they've never seen each other. So they all use the camera to go, here's my house, here's what I look like, here's my dog, here's my cat, here's the view out my window. And that to me was that's just the connectivity of, the TV was just a screen at that point. It wasn't a TV, it was just a monitor for video conferencing. But it was amazing to watch these guys, never seen each other before. All of a sudden they saw each other, and they were sharing more of their life together.